The immigrant wall is unnecessary. The wall is a futile effort that will end up causing more harm than good. It will produce next to nothing in usefulness and be a waste of materials and time. The reasons we don't need the wall are because there is little to no threats coming from the southern border, the wall will not pay for itself, and would be easy to defeat and difficult to maintain. The protection the wall would give is unnecessary because there isn't any crime flooding into America from the southern border. The supposed surge of human trafficking is over-exaggerated and unclear. Human trafficking is often confused with human smuggling, which is across the border. As stated in the article, Myths and Facts, human trafficking occurs far more inside the country than across the border, and smuggling that does transpire across the border is more often documented immigrants than not. So the wall would have little to no effect on them. Along with human trafficking, violent crimes coming from immigrants is also overstressed. There is no correlation between immigrants and crime, and native-born citizens are far more likely to commit crimes than immigrants. According to the Justice Department, in the article 17 Reasons Why We Don't Need a Wall, there's no credible information that any member of a terrorist group has traveled through Mexico to gain access points into the United States. Another issue that needs to be clarified is drug smuggling. The vast majority of illegal drugs come through ports of entry in packages, cargo, or people entering the country legally. When drugs are trafficked through entry points, it's through tunnels and not on foot. The source of all these issues comes from immigration. The border barriers created in 2006 barely had any effect on migration, and around the world, walls and fences have been concluded to be relatively ineffective. In conclusion, the security crisis isn't that big of an issue and is over-exaggerated. With the wall being built comes a plethora of costs. The Department of Homeland Security projects that total cost of the wall will be $21.6 billion, but that is likely to be massively underestimated since so much can't be predicted about the process of building the wall. Other projected costs from multiple sources range from $18 billion to $60 billion, which is quite a large gap and proves how inconsistent and uninformed the projections really are. To back up their argument and justify the prices, officials say that the wall will eventually pay for itself, despite promises to the contrary. A border wall is way too expensive and will deter too few immigrants to pay for itself, even with the generous projections given. Using a recent estimate by the border wall cannot pay for itself, the wall would have to deter roughly 1 million immigrants over the next decade to break even, 6 times as many as previously stated. Overall, the wall would be an utter waste of money and would not pay for itself. The border wall would be easy to defeat and difficult to maintain. U.S. Customs and Border Protection reports show that the new barriers could fail the job of keeping illegal immigrants out. Steel and concrete prototypes were tested in a $5 million project done by the U.S. government that weren't meant to inform wall designs. The redacted documents revealed that each mock-up can be breached by at least one technique. Other possible ways the wall could be passed through is by scaling and tunneling. Crossing the border illegally is only a small number of illegal immigration from the south. The highest percentage of illegal aliens living in America are from people living past their visa expiration dates. The wall would be a pointless project in the fact that it wouldn't perform as well as expected. The border doesn't need a wall because there is no high-level security crisis. And in conclusion, the wall is unnecessary because the border poses little threat, will cause debt rather than profit, and would not perform as it is expected to.